What's up guys, and welcome to the Acura Integra A-Spec with a 6-speed manual transmission. Outside of my own Integra Type S and a couple of other examples I've driven, I've never driven another current gen Acura Integra. So this is actually super interesting for me because this car, fully loaded with the tech package, which is the only way you can get a manual transmission, MSRP is around $37,000 to $38,000. That puts it around 14 to 15 grand cheaper than my Integra Type S. So how does the driving experience compare? Well, first impressions of the interior, it's almost identical. Some differences include the fact that this leather steering wheel isn't perforated and the shift knob is different. Although he does appear to have the Acuity short shifter, which I really love in my car. The seats are basically the same. They have the Alcantara inserts, leather on the outer part. The tech package gives us the wireless phone charger, the 12-way power adjustable driver's seat, and 4 ways for the passenger seat. There's still no rear air vent, which is a bummer, but at least you get a rear middle seat. The Integra Type S only has side seats in the back. The tech package also gives us adaptive dampers, a 10.2-inch digital gauge cluster, ELS Studio 3D premium sound, and as I mentioned, MSRP is in the $37,000 to $38,000 range here in the US. We have the 1.5-liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder engine carried over from the Civic Si, so it only makes 200 horsepower and 192 pound-feet of torque. Same figures as the Civic Si. That's 120 horsepower down on the Type S and around 120 pound-feet down as well. This car weighs a little under 3,100 pounds, which is about 120 pounds more than the Civic Si, but it is something like 150 pounds lighter than my Integra Type S. So how does all of that translate into driving dynamics? Let's find out. Everything feels basically identical. Wow, 29.8 miles per gallon averaged over the last 2,100 miles. That is impressive. So we do have an individual mode. We'll have everything in sport, including the engine, steering, suspension, and gauges. We'll turn VSA off, but we will not do the pedal dance. Let's see what kind of sound this little 4-cylinder makes. Not the most invigorating sound. I forgot to mention, the owner Jason did put a few mods on this. He does track this car actually. So we've got some 18-inch wheels, RT615K plus, Falken 200 tread wear tires. So lots of grip for such a small little car. We're gonna heel toe our own downshifts. Right away, this engine has plenty of mid-range torque, but not much of a top end. Red line is about 6,500, which is a good 500 RPM shy of the Integra Type S and Civic Type R red line. But wow, this car is so easy to flick around. But in terms of mods, this has swift lowering springs, which still work with the stock adaptive dampers. We've also got a K&N air filter and some upgraded Porterfield brake pads. Super simple mods for the track that retain the daily drivability. Look at that. This little 4-cylinder, at least it still makes good power at high elevation. I drove a couple of naturally aspirated 4-cylinder cars out here yesterday and they were just gasping for breath. I love this shifter. It's so good. It's lightweight, but very slick, even pretty mechanical. And this car does come with a front limited slip differential, just like the Civic Si. So cornering speeds coming out of corners are actually really good. This car puts the power down. Not that 192 pound-feet and 200 horsepower is exactly a lot to deal with, but it is a front-wheel drive car. So the fact that this thing is so easy to push is still a testament to Honda's engineering. This feels so good in the corners. With adaptive dampers in sport mode, at corners, pretty flat. Brake feel is good. Jason did mention that he was able to overheat them on track because these are much smaller than the Integra Type S Brembos. But out here, no complaints. steering, not a ton of feedback, but good for an EPS. And overall, the car is just dead simple to drive hard. We are hustling down this canyon road right now. The front tucks in so nicely under trail braking. Virtually no understeer at canyon speeds. It's just a very chuckable and lovable little front wheel drive hatchback with a very nice interior and lots of usable space. Effectively the same amount of space as my Integra Type S, and I fit a full set of 4 wheels and tires separately in the back with the rear seats folded down. We do get 60/40 folding rear seats, and I'm very jealous that this car gets a middle seat in the back. There definitely have been occasions where I wasn't able to drive my car, where we had to drive 2 cars because we had 5 people. And then when you just dial things back, in fact, we'll just take it out of individual mode and go into comfort, the steering lightens up, the throttle response becomes a bit less sharp, the dampers back off, and we have a perfectly livable and comfortable and practical and efficient little daily driver. 29.7 miles per gallon now. Apologies, Jason, for decreasing your average by 0.1. The engine is really, really quiet at low RPM. And this actually has start-stop technology, which the Integra Type S does not have. I think my main complaint with this car is not the driving dynamics. I think it drives really, really well. Even for its arguably overpriced price tag of $37,000 to $38,000, at least in terms of horsepower, pretty underpowered. You can get an Elantra N with much more performance for less money. But I'm okay with all of that because this car is so well-rounded and it's so easy to drive hard. It's not trying to be super high performance. But like I was saying, the one thing I'm not a fan of is actually the exterior styling. I don't know what it is about the base Integras or just the non-Type S Integras, but they just look so much less pleasing to the eye than the Type S. I think the wide fender flares and the more aggressive hood and rear bumper and the diffuser and the triple exhaust and the lowered stance and all of that, they really add a lot to the look of the Type S. There are not many cars where I can see this level of dichotomy in terms of how I view their exterior styling, base model versus the upgraded model, but the Integra happens to be one of them. So with that being said, guys, a big shout out to Jason for letting me experience his lightly track prepped Integra A-Spec with Tech package. Let me know what you think of this car. How does it fit in this segment right now at $37,000 to $38,000? Does it actually make sense if you just want a fun, affordable, efficient, practical, and borderline luxurious little daily driver? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.